Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursaleen wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillah, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He's allowed us and blessed us with another opportunity like this, where really we should be really grabbing. But unfortunately, many of us not actually taking advantage of this blessing that's actually in place for us. Because many of us, throughout the week, we have our shortcomings and, not only in activities, but in our amals. So we don't actually complete our amals or the way we're supposed to do them, especially in regards to the ascension and MURAQBAs. So this majlis is specifically to actually help people like us who during the week have struggled or not had the opportunity to actually fulfill the rights of the amals that are due to them. And not only that, there's people sometimes they fall into sin and things like this, which all in a way affects one's spiritual journey. So in this gathering, alhamdulillah, it's a great help for people like myself and yourselves who attend, that obviously the fazl of Allah and the wasila of our Master, whose blessed spirit is always present in such gatherings, that they actually, you could say, cleanse us and jet wash us. So the week that we've actually slacked, this is like a pick-up point where they actually aid us and obviously help us to pull ourselves out of the situation, though, so that we can leave from this majlis like a new start, so we can actually be more steadfast on our amals and things like that. And because it's not actually a majlis of Nasiyah, it's actually a majlis of MURAQBA, which our Honourable Dr. Shalam Sahib will be leading. And then the main thing is after is the feedback that is required from yourselves. Because this is where really each individual is helped, because if they're struggling, if, for example, if somebody says nothing is happening, then he needs to actually say nothing is happening. Otherwise, nothing will be happening maybe for the next 6 months. Or if somebody has something to relay, then they shouldn't be shy, they should actually relay. Because specifically when our teachers mentioned you should actually mention, then whatever level of experience you've had in the MURAQBA, just mention it as it is. Because it's not our job to interpret. We've got our ustads who are qualified for this. And this is the whole purpose. So do take advantage of that, because sometimes obviously in the MURAQBA's Nasiyah is given by different blessed personalities, which are also equally important to share for yourselves and others to benefit. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala firstly give me the tawfiq and all of us to act upon these teachings with ikhlas, inshallah. Jazakallah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala wa rasulihil kareem, amma ba'd. Inshallah, if everyone just come forward and gather together. Again, it is a fazl of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we've come here again to remember him, remember his beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and all the pious and righteous for following their footpath as well, for the footstep as well. So inshallah, for the first 15 to 20 minutes, do the lataif cleansing and then spiritually transfer. Then after that, another 15 minutes or so, go through the spiritual journey. Wherever you find yourself, if you cannot do anything, then at least imagine the teacher is with you and is advising you, and then from there see where the teacher is taking you, be it fairs, be it other muqams as well, inshallah. So find the teacher and just spend time there, and they'll take you to different muqamats as well, inshallah. So inshallah, if I can ask one brother to turn off all the lights, please, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وخلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب الناس مالك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الله الصمد لم يلد مالك الناس إله الناس الناس الذي وسوس بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أستغفر الله وأتوب إليك. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه. اللهم يا ربي بجاه نور وجهك الكريم وفضلك العظيم اجمع بيننا وبينك في الدنيا قبل الآخرة. اللهم يا ربي بجاه سيدنا محمد ابن عبد الله صلى الله عليه وسلم اجمع بيننا وبين سيدنا محمد ابن عبد الله في الدنيا قبل الآخرة. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم. السلام عليك أيها النبي. السلام عليك أيها النبي. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. 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 لا إله إلا الله. 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 محمد رسول الله. الله 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 لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحابه وسلم سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
My name is Hasnain, I'm from Bolton. When I transferred, I was having a bit of a struggle at the beginning. It was kind of, channeling through here and there, back and forwards. But when I successfully did it, I ended up in Morocco next to Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Dabbar Rahimullah's darbar there, and Hazrat Sahib was there. And when I walked in, we looked at where they buried, and Hazrat Sahib moved the rock that's over the where the burial is, and there was no one in there. And then as we come out, we could see footprints on the floor which were glowing. And then as we followed it up, it was leading up to a mountain, and that's where they were. And they were in some sort of MURAQBA, looking in the night sky, and everything in the sky was light, stars, everything was channeling through them into their forehead and into their body. And as they come down, they done salam with Hazrat Sahib, and everything passed on. As soon as they done salam, as soon as their hands touched, everything passed on to Hazrat Sahib. And every time I looked at Hazrat Sahib, their skin on their hands and their face, you could see stars on them, like as if the universe was the image of it, like all the stars, the galaxy it was on their skin. And after that, they done a bayan on the mountain, and all the prophets came. And I couldn't exactly hear what they were saying, but after that we jumped onto a boat. By presence, it felt like the exact boat that Hazrat Nur Salam made. So as we were on that, we were on the ocean. After this, a flood came, and we were on the boat, and we hit a boulder or something, and the ship started to sink. And as me and Hazrat Sahib was holding me, I can't remember the Prophet's name, but the story of the whale, the same whale come and took us to the shore. And as we were in the whale, Hazrat Sahib said, "Do not worry, this whale is under direct instructions from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not to hurt us." And then as we landed on shore, we came to a couple of trees where they seemed like date trees on a beach, and me and Hazrat Sahib sat down. We started to do MURAQBA and eat the dates, and then all of a sudden the trees disappeared and the mountains came up from underneath us again. And then while I was in the mountains, they started to tremble. The rocks started to shake a little bit, and as I've seen a light presence come towards me, very, very bright, that it just seemed like the mountain could not handle it, and by presence it felt like the Prophet ﷺ was coming towards me. They led me down an alleyway, not an alleyway, it was more of like a path with high walls on the side of it, and in the middle of this there was just one tree, a tall thick tree, and every time I stepped in its shade you'd get a cold breeze, then as soon as you step out of it you'd feel heat again. We went towards this path, got to the end, and there was an ocean, just dead end, and then I stayed there for about a couple of minutes and nothing was coming, and I'm trying to let my imagination flow but nothing was happening. And then I went back to Morocco, and then I asked where Hazrat Saab was, just asked, no one was around, but kind of asked myself then, and someone said that they're not here, they've gone on a journey. Instantly it was a kind of like a black figure or a shadow or something said it, and then I just didn't trust it straight away. I started to get scared, and then Hazrat Saab come and saved me, and when they looked at this shadow or figure, they looked very, very worried, and then they took me away from that, and that's all as I can remember.
MashaAllah, it's very detailed and very vivid experience. So first of all, when he said that you were struggling a bit, that's indicating that what you need to do is practice the Lataif more regularly, and many of the, you could say, issues that you might come across or face, that will slowly disappear, as well as looking at the tick sheet as well as the 7 organs. That's very important. But then after that, you saw from the blessing of the Mashaykh and spiritually as well, that really some of the status and the connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is immense, and that you actually following them, you get to actually see or have this access to those blessed personalities and the prophets that you saw and the awliya as well. So there's a clear light for you to follow as well. And top of the mountain is showing that reaching a very high closeness, or the meaning of it is they're closest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and how the Mashaykh and the awliya and the teacher are very close to them. The ship we saw, it is true, the ship is the ship of Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the path and the tariq of Tariqa Muhammadiyah. It's been mentioned in the past as well, that to save yourself from the sea of sin and the destruction of this dunya, then you have to board that ship, which is the ship of Tariqa Muhammadiyah. But then once we board it, then the duty upon us, then we have to make sure to stay within and stay according to the rules of boarding the ship. If we don't, then what could happen is we can disembark, or we could again drown and come out of it. We think we are actually in the ship, but we are not. We can come out of it and get drowned in the oceans of sea and sin again. That is basically means that when we start to follow our own perceptions and own ideas, although there is a path in tariq, but then we start to actually adopt our own ways, our own understanding, thinking this is right, this is how it should be done, and we don't really consult or follow the authorized way. But yet, when we drown, but if you do have any sincerity and connection to the Mashaykh, they never let you go. They still want to save you and help you. Even when you saw that whale where they actually swallowed us or swallowed you, even there is no danger, because then the support and the compassionate nature of the Shaykh is still there. So that shows how loving and caring they are, that until the last breath they want to help us and go all the way. But then we have to fulfill our duty, some of the things that we must do, try our best, inshallah, and not to disembark the ship and so on and the way. And then another thing actually, so again the mountain and so on, again showing the difficulties come, the mountain comes like the mountain diagram, and when you climb up it, then you have to reach certain qualities, certain achievement from the tariq point of view as well. So you should also study the mountain diagram, what that means, the first one and the second one and so on, how you can reach. Because again, if you do not keep up with that path and have Shaykh as your guide and so on, and gets distracted to your own worldly communications or people that you meet, your friend circle or whatever else, go after the dunya, then again you feel as if you're lost again and it's dead, not going anywhere. Then the shaitan could be your guide, or for example, like our own thoughts or our own whim could be our guide as well. And then you don't know which one to turn or which way to go. So then again, when inshallah resort back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and then obviously guide Shaykh, you remember him, then they actually rescue you again and go back the path. So spiritually it's true that our because the rescue mission happens by the teacher when you remember him, as the image is button. Same, likewise, in parallel, this physical journey we're doing towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, living the sin and sinful lifestyle and going the path. As soon as you leave either of them, and you leave the company of the Shaykh and their guidance and their so on, then you can drift away and you can find yourself that you're in the lap of shaitan and they're actually playing the dark figure that you saw and so on as well. And they can misguide you. They can pose as something else, but it's actually going to be something else instead. And they could deceive us as well. So it's very good news, as well as shown that when someone actually not stay within that boundary, then what could happen as well. So they can learn and stay within the bounds and in the guidance and in the company and in the under the wings of the Mashaykh and the teacher, inshallah. Okay.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah.
My
My name is Zumair and I'm from Bolton. So as soon as we were doing the protection amals, it was though Hasab was right here and they were stood up, so I stood up as well, and then I asked them for forgiveness for my shortcomings, and then I started to sort of beg them for forgiveness, and then go as far as even touching their feet. So as soon as I touched their feet, they got angry and they sort of slightly just sort of they pulled me up sort of thing, and they said that what you're doing, you know, the awliya mashaykh, they don't like none of this, and they mentioned you go from here. So I was sort of dumbfounded, thinking that I've got nowhere else to go, Hasab, that you're I wouldn't be able to say to go. So I was in a room. So what happened was I just went out. Went outside the room, took one step out, and then came back in, because I wanted to sort of listen to him, but then I knew I had nowhere else to go. And then from there, as soon as I came back, and I said that that I don't have anywhere else to go, and I kept on sort of begging them to sort of stay. And then they said that go to such and such a place, there's a teacher there, if you want to go and learn from them. And again, I had no inclination to go, but because they mentioned it, I just went, and then sort of came back, and then again begged them for them to let me stay. And then they said that this was all just a test of your loyalty. And and then from there they took me to Medina Sharif, and when they took me to Medina Sharif, they said that however hard or easy it is, you go and invite people towards the path. So then I just thought that I just listen to Hasab and whatever they're mentioning. So I started to slowly go around Medina Sharif to invite people towards the path, and towards the path of Tariqa Muhammadiyya. So again, initially it was okay at first, and then after that it started to get a little bit more sort of difficult. There was like people that was mentioning that how dare you give dawah in Medina Sharif? Do you not know the blessings of Medina Sharif itself? Are you qualified? Are you this? Who are you? Who's sent you? And people posing many different obstacles, but I just stayed firm in that if Hasab told me to do it, then I'm just going to do it no matter what happens. And then from there there was like arrows that was towards me, and they were just sort of going through my body, and then from there it was as though that we went to Makkah Sharif, and now Hasab said that now your role has changed. Don't give dawah, now people will come to you for advice. And I thought that and I thought to myself, and I asked Hasab that I don't have anything to sort of give them. What is it that I should do then? And they said that whatever your question you have, you can ask myself, and you'll get a reply. So again, when I went to sort of Makkah Sharif, I was sat inside the Kaaba Sharif, and again slowly people started to come and ask questions, and I personally felt that I couldn't obviously answer them, but because Hasab had given me the strategy, I just went and obviously done that. And again, people was asking that who is he, that he must be some sort of soothsayer or XYZ, and I was thinking, and then from there, it was, Nasab said that now we're going to go to sort of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or to the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then it was only sort of two sort of 2 year strides, and it was and the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was that close. And then from there it was as though that there was a strong presence of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned that I love all my ummatis, whether they're Muslim or non-Muslim, they're still part of the ummah, so it's a duty upon us. And now, even though I saw that now the sort of more information is sort of coming on that, they said that even though it's my ummah that I love all my ummah, even if they're Muslim or non-Muslim. And then I love more is I love those with iman, and then the grade increases when the faith increases. But I have a special love for those who fall and keep getting up, fall and keep getting up, fall and keep getting up, because this is what they have been instructed to do. And then I love all the pious people, and I love all and I love all the turuqs as they are bringing people towards me. But especially I love your teacher Sheikh Ahmad Dabag, because they have named their path after me. And the path that they was given is truly bringing people towards me, and I love and then because of them all the brothers and all of the people that they are affiliated to, they have a special love, and you convey my Islam to the Ustad that is leading the brothers in the majlis, to the teacher, and then again to your mother and a few other people. And then from there it started to fade away.
First of all, when we hear giving salam like this, then we should then respond as well to ourselves. Inshallah. It's important, even in any gathering, when you hear salam is given, sometimes even the scholars don't give salam. And if it's directly addressed, then we should give salam back as well in the gathering as well. So alhamdulillah, very blessed, and very many things are self-explanatory, especially the nasihat and guidance at the end is mashallah very powerful, and how Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is so loving that he loves us more than our own self. And this love as an ummah of people who have accepted, which is i.e. us, and those who have not accepted yet of da'wat, they're all in a part of ummah, because their only salvation and their success lies in hands of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he has the kind of love, that intense love for everyone. And then obviously the gradation increases if one is a Muslim, if one is following the way, for one is frequent doing tawbah and so on. And obviously, especially the Mashaykh and especially our teacher is mentioned here as well. So that should also instill a value, a very weight, a value and honor in our heart as well of, first of all, creation at large, the human being, especially the Muslim brothers and sisters, then our own family members, brothers and sisters, and then Tariq brothers and sisters. So in fact, many times it is said that sometimes, and it should be that your fellow Tariq brothers and sisters are more closer to you, in a sense, from a religious point of view, because of the religious and Tariqi connection, than even your own siblings, if they're not in the path of the path as such. Because of this connection, which Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is mentioning as well. And then what to say of the Mashaykh, and especially the teacher as well. So slowly in that teaching, you can see how they're actually gradating it, and instilling that love in us as well. So he's teaching us that we should be also loving and caring for the ummah at large, and especially people who are close to us as well. The other aspect, the initial what he said about the seeking forgiveness, one lesson, like I said, is quite self-explanatory. Yes, sometimes they do say these things to go away, to expel us is a test of loyalty. So this is true. And this is also true in a real sense, in the reality that sometimes a duty is given, sometimes duty is taken away, sometimes someone is promoted, sometimes outwardly it seems that he's been demoted. This is all a test, remember. And not to think that, oh, I've contributed so much now, why am I being demoted, or why have I been taken off this role? Because this is also, like it's mentioned in the vision, is a test, so to see your loyalty, your sincerity for the job that you're doing. And many a times we actually fall here as well, in a real sense. So it's a lesson in that sense as well. And especially, like yourself said, that we're doing mistakes, and then sometimes we're doing purposely mistakes as well. And especially when those mistakes been highlighted again and again, we're not doing rectifying, especially when it comes to relation to another brother or sister in Tariq where we're falling out. And then we're paying a lip service, oh, please forgive us, I'll touch your feet, I'll touch your hand. Then these things has no meaning. So in the meaning of that, what Umar is saying, that really if you think you have actually made a mistake and feel sorry, then something which is in your control, which you are making, for a fact, intentionally or otherwise, then do something about it, make that, rectify that, or resolve that, or reconcile that, and then say sorry. And if you don't say sorry outwardly sometimes, then still, you've gone about doing the real work, rather than just lip service, I'm sorry, or I apologize, but then the real thing is still left, unattended or dealt with as well. So that's why sometimes, or even our own journey. Yes, we're all making mistakes, but we all are trying. But if it's purposely we left it to one side, we don't really care, come to the point where we have no care attitude. And then once in a while, I'm sorry, Hazrat Sahab, I'm not following the path. Then really that sorry has not much meaning. I say, may Allah bless you for that saying it. But then you should think that what's in my control, can I not actually at least make an effort and rectify my previous ways at least, inshallah. So that's something to think about personally, as well as the duties at large, or the whatever role is given to us. And like you have said in terms of dawah, that is how it should be. Sometimes you get a position, sometimes you get praise. If you only do only because you're getting praise and not doing when your opposition comes, then it's not really even sincere as well. Because Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself and the companions have faced opposition from their own members of the community as well, in the Makkah Sharif and with the Quraysh and so on. So what to say that we're not going to face? We will. Yes, there will be accusation of you're not learned, you're not a scholar, and so on. But if you just stick to the methodology and the way how to do dawah and bring people in, then you shouldn't really worry about it as well. Then later on, then it's like your role could change, or you get also blessed with different opportunities because of the task that you took at it, you carried on, inshallah. Like sometimes then you're serving and teaching as well. So all in all, mashallah, a very good experience, but many lessons to be had and to be taken from this as well, in terms of loyalty, in terms of this oneness direction, in terms of dedication and commitment, not having this carefree or giving up attitude, but not keep at it wherever you are, inshallah. So may Allah bless you, inshallah, for this.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Jabir from Bolton.
Walaikum salam.
So after the collective zikr, all I could see was darkness, and then as I mentioned to the lesson more effect that sometimes when we
So this is in the Lataif stage.
yeah, this is in the Lataif stage, as I mentioned to the lesson more effect that sometimes when we are out of the presence for a little while, it begins to grow and grow and grow. And then they mentioned that now we just have to get past this phase of darkness, and I was waiting for like 10-20 seconds, and then as I mentioned, look at me, I'm sat at the front, and as soon as I looked at Hassab, all my lataifs became clenched, and then they mentioned stand up and walk towards me. So as I stood up and walked towards Hassab, all my organs became clean, and then when I sat down and presented salams, after they replied, they took my heart out of my chest, cleaned it, and they kissed my heart and then put it back into my chest, and then we began to travel. We began to travel, and then we went past the country of Ireland, and I could see light there, and the flag of Tariqa Muhammadiyah over there, and then we travelled past Ireland, Northern Ireland, and to Morocco, and we were outside the Mazar of Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Dabar Rahmatullah alayhi, and then we entered the Mazar, and it was all greenery, and walking down with Hassab, and they mentioned that this should be the highlight of a person, that they are with their teacher and they are with their murshid. And we were walking to meet Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Barakatullah, but there was a big rock in the way, and I removed that rock, and there was like a muddy area, so I put my chadar down, and then as I walked over it, then I walked over it myself and cleaned it, put it back onto my shoulder, and then we were walking down, and I asked Hassab if they wanted some water, and then they mentioned yes, and then I looked towards the water, and it was defected, so I apologized to Hassab, and I asked if I could get some clean water from the well, and they mentioned yes, so I went to get some clean water. Then I did the dua, and then presented the water. Hassab drank, and then we got up and continued the journey to Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Tabarak. Then we met Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Tabarak, and they were like worried, but happy to see us at the same time. And then they invited us to eat, and we sat down at the it was like a chadar on the floor, and Hassab mentioned you just drink some water. They poured some water in for me halfway, and they mentioned pray Bismillah at the beginning, and Alhamdulillah at the end is drinking 3 sips, and that's it. And when I did that, then we sought ijazat, and then we came back, and then the vision ended there. Then Hassab told me to do MURAQBA, and that's when the vision ended.
MashaAllah, just briefly that sometimes like yourself said that many things happen in our life and we end up in a certain darknesses and so on. So the Mashayikh giving a special spiritual help to come out of that with the cleansing the lataif and the heart and so on. But also what they're actually indicating that, look, you should sometimes our own nafs, our own selves, then psychologically as well, we think that keep falling up and down, keep falling down, and it's a struggle and it's a hard thing to do. And then sometimes we slightly become demotivated. So one thing you should do also is to focus on the good thing, what you could achieve in terms of the closeness to the Shaykh, Mashayikh, closeness of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that becomes a motivator to actually then quickly learn how to discipline ourselves and remove some of the darkness that enters in our body as well, and in our whole system, inshallah. Because sometimes we just focus on our negative, and then you're falling negative again, and they become more negative, or I'm not coming out of that cycle. So one way to come out of that is look at the positive, that what is waiting in store for you. So you can quickly pass that and then start working on the positive side, or achieve the positive thing as well, inshallah. And as you can see, that spiritually how much because affairs and blessings given and spiritual support is given to come out of that state and so on. And so in the water example, if I quickly go into that when the water was stale, you saw yourself. That's showing that sometimes ourselves, we're doing something, but then it becomes quite stale, and it's quite foul, or it actually needs refreshing. So indicating our own course and so on, that try to refresh it, so that when it's presented to the teacher, when they're aware that they know, it's been refreshed and it's cleaner, to actually, and you're benefiting from the pure waters coming to you. But if you don't refresh yourself, then that water gets contaminated sometimes. So you should actually sit down periodically with the ustads that you see, inshallah, and review things, how things are. If it's everything good, then alhamdulillah, thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and carry on. If not, then you can refresh things and revitalize things as well, inshallah. And so that's why the Mashaykh are the most compassionate side. Then Abdul Aziz Dabbagh, they're most compassionate. They're calling you in. They're giving all this support, food and drink. They're showing their concern is because the fact that this, like for example, negativity or the negative part comes into our life, or things become quite stale, and we need to refresh. So they're showing the concern that you should be concerned that, look, I want to become better in the sense that I can continue the journey, and he's all refreshed and he's all in optimal condition as well. So inshallah, if you see the ustad and you do a review, inshallah, if you haven't done so, then that will help you, and then you'll be fine, carry on with the journey, inshallah, as well, mashallah. Then obviously the closeness and the service is always there, opportunity there as well, you can benefit from as well, inshallah. Anyone else from the back? It looks like we designed the only good ones come at the front and give you feedback, and others can stay away in the back and then they'll quickly sneak out as well. If there's no one then who can finish, because it's already 1:15 now. But please, mashallah, those brothers regularly saying that's good, but especially next week, Ustad Kes will be here, inshallah. He'll be leading as well. So make sure he's going to pick all those Ustad brothers and Satis who are not saying, he's going to fish you all out, inshallah. Yes.
It's one text message.
Okay. You have received?
Yeah, it's just from a brother who participated online. It's Brother Muhafir from Coventry. He mentioned that after I transferred, I found Hazrat Sahib in their office in Medina Masjid Bolton. Gave salams. I followed Hazrat Sahib downstairs to the main prayer area. I sat with Hazrat Sahib, and the name of Allah was above their blessed head. Light was shining from the name of Allah to Hazrat Sahib and then to my heart. Whilst this was happening, my heart was beating Allah, and I started to then communicate to Allah for my sins. We then went to Morocco, and standing outside the mazar of Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Dabbagh rahmatullah, whilst outside I was giving salams and asking for forgiveness. I can feel their blessed spirit inside, and feel them knowing I am here and they are watching me. We then went inside the mazar, and the light was shining from the name of Allah to the blessed grave, then to Hazrat Sahib and to my heart. My heart was beating Allah, and I began to talk to Allah about my sins. We then got up and Hazrat Sahib was leading Salah. We did takbir and found ourselves in Medina Sharif. We were outside Masjid Nabawi, and whilst giving salams to the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, I can feel that Blessed Spirit was watching over me. Also gave salams to Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq and Sayyidina Umar Radiyallahu Ta'ala Anhuma. I saw the name of Allah shining onto the green dome and onto Hazrat Sahib and then to my heart. My heart was beating Allah again, and I did MURAQBA dua. We then went to Makkah and started doing the Allah zikr, striking the door of Allah, striking the door of the Kaaba for a while. The door was shining bright, and we went inside and started doing the zikr of Allah inside the Kaaba. I could see my physical body shaking every time the name of Allah was striking upward into the heaven. We then went underground of Masjid al-Aqsa and still continuing the Allah zikr. Every time the name would go up, it was slowly breaking the ceiling, eventually made a hole, and we went flying into the first heaven. The Kaaba in the first heaven resembled the Kaaba in this dunya, but it was all gold. I can see striking from the Kaaba in the first heavens upwards and downwards. The light was striking up. I can see the name of Allah there, and was striking Hazrat Sahib's heart into my heart. We were doing more MURAQBA and asking for forgiveness. An angel came and spread their right wing under Hazrat Sahib and left wing under myself. And whilst in this state of MURAQBA, the angel took us flying and taking us to do tawaf around the Kaaba. We then found ourselves in the old Masjid Nabawi Sharif, and then the Ustad Shalam started reading the Durood and afterwards slowly returned.
MashaAllah, Brother Muhafir, if you're watching live, MashaAllah, very blessed journey, and you have certainly begun your spiritual journey. You're traveling and traversing, so inshallah you should continue like so at your own time, at least twice a week, if not more, and then slowly go through that journey like you have done from Makkah Sharif to Medina Sharif to Makkah Sharif to Masjid Aqsa and so on, first heaven, and there's many worlds to discover and to experience and to explore. But always have the teacher beside you. And also, for example, like it helps that to remember and remind yourself this experience that you've had and how they were in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, light was flowing down, and the light was, the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was reverberating in your heart in the presence of the teacher. So especially when the opportunity comes where you fear you might end up in mistake or sin, comes at that moment, just to remember that experience, only one portion of it even. For example, like you said, you're with the teacher in Bolton Zavia and the name of Allah and light is flowing. Just if you can recall that in that moment when the opportunity comes, then this will help you to save from that act as well, which if is against Sharia, for example. So the beauty of doing this MURAQBA and this experience is it refreshes you for that time and for that day, for example. But also then you can use that as a reminder or as a memory, as a something to cherish. Like Brother Gulfam sends messages every Monday. You should remember the journey you've been to, those who've been to Morocco, to play that in your mind for 10 minutes as a refresher. So likewise, you can do that. That, if you have the presence of Allah subhanahu there and then, and the light from the name of Allah is coming down, you're in the presence of the teacher, be it in Makkah Sharif, Medina Sharif, or Bolton Zavia. Few seconds, just remember that, and you see that gush of this desire or the attraction or whatever that comes about, or that urge to do that act, then that will just dissipate and will just diffuse out, and that way you can then save yourself from falling into any mistake as well. So something that you can also replay in your mind, and then if you practice regularly, like I said, once or twice a week, then it helps you to refresh and become more and more stronger and steadfast in the path as well, inshallah. Okay, I think inshallah, jazakallah for your time. And may Allah Ta'ala bless you for coming, and may Allah Ta'ala bless especially our teacher that are out there in the different parts of the world in Pakistan, going and giving dawah and bringing people in. We should all engage. Those brothers are going to Ireland and other places as well. May Allah Ta'ala bless them. And those some brothers are going to Bangladesh and other countries as well, inshallah. Amin. Subhanaka wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka